Welcome back to another episode of the Jackrabbit Illustrated Podcast. We're excited to have you join us today. Before we dive in, we'd like to thank our sponsors who help make this all possible. First off, a great big thank you to our title sponsor again for 2024, the Kubota dealers of South Dakota. Whether it's tractors, mowers, utility vehicles, construction, or farm equipment, Kubota's got you covered. With 9 convenient locations across the state of South Dakota and 1 in northwest Iowa, there's always a Kubota dealer nearby. Stop by your local Kubota dealer and see all they have to offer. All A-Team shows are sponsored this year by Culver's of Brookings and Watertown, home of the Butterburger, fried cheese curds, signature root beer, and world-famous custard. Culver's, welcome to Delicious. Next, we'd like to recognize the support of our other A-Team podcast sponsors. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, the best sports bar in South Dakota and home to the Jimmy Rogers Radio Show. Northwestern Mutual Wealth Management, see them for all your retirement and life insurance needs. And the Jackrabbit Former Players Association. And now, here is the A-Team.
And we are back. It's not a victory Sunday, but it's close to it, right? Because we didn't lose, we didn't play. The Bears still suck. Yeah, they
Always a good way to start. And yes, indeed, the Bears do suck.
Yes, and they have a new head coach. So
What a disaster that was.
That was,
And it happened. Man. It happened on the next game too. I was watching it. The Raiders. My dad's a Raiders fan. Don't ask me why, but he's a Raiders fan, and we're watching it. My brother's like, the Raiders are gonna Raider this at the end. You wait. Like the very next play, and I'm like, why are they not kicking the field goal? Just take the W. What are you doing?
There were some great TikTok and Reels. There were some great reactions of people just losing their minds about the end of that game, and justifiably so. Man, there's some weird clock management and stuff going on weekend between college and NFL.
Yeah. So then we get to the 8 overtime game, and my brother's like, "Oh, they're probably going to screw this," before it even went to overtime. Right? Oh, they're going to do something like the NFL. I was like, "This is college. They won't make those mistakes. Like those mistakes only happen in the NFL. How is that a thing?" Whatever. I'll get off my soapbox.
Now we can talk some rivalry week here, just in general. I know we're obviously an FCS pod, but man, there's some great games. I mean, there's fights and people getting punched and players getting maced at the 50-yard line. Like,
I want to see flag planting in the FCS.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's start flag planting.
You got to bring your own base though, because nobody has real grass anymore. Which really
that's true.
But I did see that the Sickos committee had the fight count to 11 last night before I went to bed for rivalry week. So that was kind of cool. And Ohio State's coach, it's probably gone, huh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you can't beat Michigan, especially this year.
Well, but when all that stuff was happening on the sideline, happening out in the middle of the field, he was just on the sideline, shell shocked, like just standing there, like not involved at all. Huh. I don't know.
Yeah, if anybody didn't see it, it was the end of the game, and my kid's a Michigan fan, so I'm by de facto pay attention to it now. But no, so Michigan beats Ohio State. Ohio State's ranked second. Michigan's dropped 4 games, not great this year, and then they plant the flag at the horseshoe at the end, and there's a fight, and the cops are out there, and some players got maced, which I don't think that's ever happened. That's
because they kept going back at it. Because usually it's a scuffle, some pushing, maybe a punch here or there. They break it up. They did that, and they went back at it like 3-4 times, and ABC was like, "Oh, this is terrible." Zoom in, like,
this is terrible.
Like, this is great TV. Keep it on. This.
The ratings skyrocket.
Talk bad about how it's going down. This is not how college football should be. And I love Dallas's comment on Twitter is like, "Meanwhile, that's a Tuesday in hockey."
Yeah. That's funny. I missed that. That's good, Dallas.
It was about the punch, I think, actually, for the Notre
Dame. It was about there's a D lineman just decked an O lineman laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, but rivalry week. Fun football.
All right. Next year we'll do it. All right. So before we dig into the playoffs here, we got to thank our sponsors, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. I don't know about you, Chad, but I am itching to get my snowblower out. and I've started it. After visiting with John about the glow plugs and stuff, learning about that. I'm just antsy to get out there and get on my tractor and just see how it goes. So excited for that. But anyways, if you are, nervous about snow season and need something, or if you want to make your wife happy so she can mow the yard faster, like we talked about last week, look up with the Kubota dealers of South Dakota. They'll get you hooked up for what you need. So 10 different locations and 1 in Iowa. So thank you for your support and sponsorship.
I will gladly pay for my Kubota to sit all winter.
All right.
Without having to use the snowblower.
All right, fair enough. All right, next up, got to thank Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. Definitely stopping there on Saturday. Coming down with Miles, my brother-in-law, maybe my daughter. We'll see how warm it is, and we'll go from there. But thank you, Culver's of Brookings and Watertown, for the best butter burgers, the fries for me, and then a mint Oreo concrete mixer. That's my order, folks. So, yeah. All right. Should we get into this bracket?
Sure.
All right.
We can't. Hold on. I've got one random thing. Maybe I can bring it up later because I didn't prepare. The tractor comment reminded me. I haven't been on since I was down at K-State, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was going to show something that I saw down there that would be the most South Dakota State thing imaginable.
Oh yeah, show that. That's awesome.
Hold on. I'm not. I thought of it, but I'm not in any way prepared here.
Well, yeah. You look, and we'll discuss Illinois State and SEMO.
Yeah, let's discuss that one. That was an okay game. I did watch that too. A little bit.
So it started out the first drive, Chad. It looked like SEMO was going to boat race these guys. Right? In my opinion, watching it.
Yeah.
And SEMO was flying all over the field on defense in Illinois State's first possession. Watched it for a little bit, and then I went to a family Thanksgiving thing, checked it, and it was halftime. And it was what? 21-7, 28-7 at halftime?
Yeah, something like that.
28-7 at halftime. Illinois State had a huge second quarter, 21 points, and ended up winning 35-27 because SEMO kind of stormed back in the fourth quarter. Did you see the stats? Paxton DeLorient threw 85 passes.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Completed 48 of them. I have never seen, even like in Madden, like an 85 attempts, 557 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. A few of those interceptions were off his wide receiver's hands. Insane numbers for that guy. Wow. And Illinois State, they won with only 51 rushing yards. What in the world? How?
I don't know. Does that tell you about the tiers in the FCS or what? Because those teams did not look exceptional, even when they were, beating the other team.
Oh, I wouldn't be. Illinois State's going to lose, right, in this next game. So,
oh yeah,
UC Davis.
Off topic here, quick of just the game specifically, though. That reminds me, Sam Herder and various other people were getting into Twitter arguments today because that's what one does during the playoffs on a Sunday, and there's griping just about there's too many teams and why did these teams get in? And I mean, in general, there were some pretty entertaining games, and I don't really understand the need to shrink it. Like, why not let those teams have another week of practice? There weren't a bunch of blowouts. Like, I don't understand why people are getting so up in arms about that some of these teams shouldn't have been playing or whatever. Like, I don't know. They're decent football teams. It gives you another week of football to watch if you don't want to watch the FBS games. Like, I guess I don't understand that complaint.
Well, the biggest thing is just how the CAA scheduled their schedule this year. To the top teams, none of the top teams really played each other. But I agree, Dallas. It was entertaining. It was great. The biggest thing is just how that people are mad about how the CAA structured their schedule and still got 5 teams in the playoffs, and they were kind of rewarded for that. So that's all.
Yeah, I'm annoyed at the gripe of those teams don't belong in. Fine. There are 4 teams that can win this year. We've said all along there's 3.5 teams that can win. So do you want a 4-team playoff? I mean, No. So just
Yeah.
let it slide. Anyway,
and so like who do you slide in, right? Southern Utah is going to likely be the same result. Southeast Louisiana is going to be the same result. Like they're going to be one game teams, so it doesn't matter,
right? I mean, Southeastern Louisiana had a good argument for why they should have been in, but
yep. But even
they went out and played tough teams.
Yeah, the final bubble team was Northern Arizona, and they got blown out. So how do you know?
That one surprised me. I thought they were gonna put together a better game than that.
Yeah, but any tournament you run, like shit like this happens. It doesn't matter the age group. I mean, there's always going to be teams that think they deserve to get in that don't, and teams that do get in get upset, and teams that do get in don't look that good. Like it's just part of a tournament. That's why we do it. And this division, this subdivision is so much fun that it extends out to 24 teams. Because stuff does happen, like Lehigh beating Richmond, which we could go to next. I don't know.
But that was a bizarre game because they hauled off 2 Lehigh players and stretchers, right? And they still came back and won that game with the backup quarterback, was it? I think
so. Right?
Oh, man, it was fun to watch. And there was like the Lehigh fans, I think, were louder in that stadium than the Richmond fans.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that we have friends like Jamie that would say that's because Richmond doesn't have any fans, but
yeah. I really enjoyed the few minutes that I did catch of this game. It looks like Lehigh plays super hard. Like I know like there's probably a talent disparity. But Lehigh, in my opinion, was playing harder than Richmond was yesterday. And
Absolutely.
that's part of the reason they won, even though Richmond is likely a better team, a more talented team. Lehigh was fired up and busting their butts. So yeah, Richmond sucks, Chad.
Oh, they hadn't played anybody. I agree, Taco King. That's fine.
Yeah.
But did you see that UT Martin score also kind of surprised me? The Owls, I think they are, right? They put a heck of a game together, and the unranked Owls beat the crap out of New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin. Oops, sorry, Chad. Kevin, Richmond shouldn't have had to play last week. Well, I mean,
okay, so they would have gotten
hairs
beat
on
even
that.
better.
Yeah, I mean,
even more. Like
they shouldn't. Yes, maybe they shouldn't have, but they were playing at home against a Patriot League team. Come on, and you even said, Kevin, on our show and your own show that this is not a Holy Cross level Patriot League team. This is a more traditional Patriot League team, and I'd believe it from what I saw, from just a talent perspective. But dang, they did play hard. And so it's going to be fun watching them out in the Kibby Dome. See how they do. Talked about SEMO Illinois State. Go back to the top. Sorry, Chad. UT Martin and New Hampshire. Skipped over them. So now I just razzed Kevin a little bit, but now I got to give Kevin some flowers here. And he called this one, so I called it on my bracket. New Hampshire had exactly what he talked about. Big offensive line that was unathletic. And this is what we've seen. I better be careful because Ben's going to do some AI stuff to me again and make me make fun of Sean Anderson, even though I'm not.
That was crazy, though, wasn't it?
That's scary. But anyways, UT Martin looks good. New Hampshire does not. But UT Martin's going to be done next week in Bozeman. So.
Oh, yeah. That's not going to be a close game either, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's next? What was next on here?
We had the Tarleton Drake game, which Drake made a game out of it right away. In fact, people were like, "Oh no, Drake's gonna get this." But then by the end, Tarleton just simply outclassed them.
Yep.
And I wish Tarleton would have lost because I hate them.
What was it? 14-3 at halftime in that one, or something like that at one point?
Right, yeah. Sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
the Yotes are going to win by probably 10,000 points, give or take a little bit on Saturday. That'll be just a dismantling.
But
one less point than the number of TVs and Cubbies.
I'm gonna I'm picking USC to win, obviously, but Tarleton, I mean, they're talented on offense, right? That guy can sling the rock. They have a running attack to stay balanced. I mean, I think you have to have a balanced offense to beat USD. You can't be one-dimensional against them, in my opinion. True. So I don't know. That could be a better game than you guys think. But I'm still picking USD in it.
I mean, if they beat them, USD should fold their program, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, Chad, you were saying that on Twitter.
Why not? That's how I feel.
In arguing with one of the USD guys.
Hey, he was jabbing back and forth. It was respectful and fun.
No, it was good. It was funny banter. It was funny banter.
Like, I just don't want them to have any success in anything ever, and that's how I feel about that.
Yeah. So one thing I never got to talk about before was the amount of conflict that I felt a week ago with USD and North Dakota State playing, and it's the most petty thing in the world, but being torn between my team having a share of the conference title, but knowing that I have to allow them to have a share of the conference title in order for us to have a share of the conference title. Like, I don't know that I've had that type of internal conflict ever in my life. It was so hard, and I still don't know how I feel about it.
I explained it to someone today or yesterday like this. NDSU's already had success. We can't take that away from them. It's too bad USD has had a chance to gain some momentum. I'd rather just let NDSU be NDSU and USD be the dump that they are in Vermilion.
Yeah. Well, then, the third piece of that conflict is the fact that the Cows, who I dislike more, would get to win the conference title outright.
Right.
And man, like that was difficult. I'm glad that's behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Guess we don't have to worry about it, do we, guys?
The hair raiser guys were saying the same thing, and I forget who it was. I don't think it was Phil. Maybe it was, but one of them said they like jumped up when USD scored that last touchdown and kind of like semi-cheered and then caught themselves like, shit, what am I doing? Like, what's going on here?
It was so hard to know what to do emotionally.
Yeah, right. All right, let's talk about this controversial one. I wish we could have Kevin on here so we could get him ranting right now. But Eastern Kentucky and Villanova, man, I picked Eastern Kentucky for all the reasons Kevin told us last week, and they sure should have won. They got ripped off on that quarterback sack fumble, and the attempted forward pass, which he dropped the ball. I don't know in what world that's an attempted forward pass. And
right.
And how it comes from the booth to challenge it, it's just insane. So I don't understand. If you haven't seen it yet, look it up on Twitter. Or Chad, can you find it?
Maybe
find it maybe on Twitter and just see. I think Kevin's been retweeting it.
Kevin, I think, has retweeted. That's where I was.
Yeah, going. Justifiably so. That was horrendous, and I don't understand. I mean, because when you watch a big time broadcast, you think, oh, then maybe they have more angles that we don't see. No, that's all the angles that we have for FCS games. There are no other angles. There's no magic cameras that are pointed at anything that we're not privy to. And it didn't make any sense. And I get why people were upset for sure.
Yeah, and it's just like, and even, we talk about the angles and stuff. You don't need another angle on this from what we had, right? Like,
true.
Miak refs. Yep. So, and exactly what Seth is saying here. But so Seth is saying if that was ruled an incomplete pass and upheld, that would have been terrible. To have it ruled a fumble on the field and overturned by replay was absolutely atrocious. Yes.
Well, and then somebody said if that was an incomplete pass, then they had an ineligible receiver downfield because one of the linemen had already went downfield.
Sure.
Somebody else had pointed that out. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm still trying to find that. So sorry.
Well, that's okay. If we haven't seen it yet, just look it up. Find Kevin's.
Well, I'm curious. One team that I quit following Nova a little bit into the season, and I kind of want to pull their schedule up because that was a team that we had earmarked as.
that was too good not to share.
AI ref wearing Villanova shirt.
I am frozen. How about that? You're welcome. My internet has been terrible all day. And I think you can still hear me. I'll have to leave and come back.
Yeah, we can hear you good.
You look like you're either being raptured or being taken by aliens, one of the two.
Yeah, and Kevin's right. Was also grounding. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That'll be tough.
Brian.
What happened to Nova this year? Because, man, that was a team that
Right?
I think a lot of people really had earmarked as a potential contender as maybe that fourth or fifth team this year. And that did not happen.
Yeah, right. Because that was someone that we picked, right? Of a non-Dakota or Montana school to contend for a title. And most people either said Idaho or Villanova. And Villanova just really fell off a cliff. And even the red warning was flashing when they struggled with Youngstown at the start of the season. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
All right, here it is. Thank you, Chad.
I will play it here.
Good.
And his arm doesn't go forward. He has an arm like this, and he hits it from underneath. How's that a forward pass?
I don't know. That's like a Zapruder film or whatever it is. The
Zapruder. Well, Trump's going to be president. We might gonna know all about the FBI's plot to kill JFK.
So. Yeah, right.
CIA.
Yeah.
Wrong.
So, anyways,
that's pretty typical quarterback pressure. He's got the ball halfway tucked down around his waist.
Yeah.
And it was just a strip sack.
So, I don't know. Pretty awful in that one. Ruined my bracket. So I'm upset about that. But can't fix it now.
And I locked up again in the same pose. Except for my mouth is
very stoic looking.
Yeah, stoic and a nice beard. So all right. So we'll go next with Central Connecticut and Rhode Island. This game was kind of ugly, kind of a rock fight a little bit in my opinion. Everyone's saying, Rhode Island is playing with a backup quarterback. Central Connecticut, though, did put up a better fight than what we expected. Kevin called them, more useless than bubblegum being stuck to the bottom of your shoe. I don't know where he got that from. That was a little uncalled for. But Central Connecticut put up a better fight. So my confidence in Rhode Island isn't really there. But the big guy, Malik Grant, 223 rushing yards, 7.7 yard average, long of 75. So, man alive, he's getting after it. The backup quarterback for Rhode Island, Hunter Helms, 208 yards on 18 to 28 passing, 2 interceptions. But really, it was the Rhode Island defense picking off Central Connecticut 3 times. So, did not watch much of that game. Family thing, like I said, right around that time. But Rhode Island moves on to face Mercer. So, yeah. And finally, go ahead.
There's a couple of games there, bottom half of the bracket this week, where this week sure as heck looked to me like it could be chalk. But there's a couple where if stuff goes a little sideways in the first quarter that we could wind up with a ball game, and that's one of them to me.
Yeah. I know, because what do we know about Mercer, right?
No.
We don't, other than they supposedly have a really good defense, but we don't know that they've really played. What's the top number of offense they played against, right? I mean,
and there were some weeks in the middle of the season there where they were giving up some points too to some of those SoCon teams. So, yeah, it's not like they're an Iron Dome or whatever. So, yeah.
No, and you get a team like Rhode Island that I'm sure is motivated because it's been, I forget, how many years has it been since they hadn't been in the playoffs for quite a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was, I forget, I saw the stat, but it good length of time since they had gone on any sort of a run. So, if they're excited, to me, you get the emotion of the playoffs and you get a game like that feels like they could get an upset brewing for sure.
Okay, Alabama. Okay, Kevin and Ron, settle down. Yes, they played an FBS game against Alabama. But beside that, there was a stretch in the middle of the season where they're giving up 30-ish points, right? Am I crazy? Am I imagining that? Possibly.
Are we acting like Alabama's the same Alabama from 5 and 10 years ago?
No, well, that's not the argument we want to make either, I don't think. But
they're no Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Well, they are better than Oklahoma State. That don't take a hell of a lot, does it?
Oh man, how did that turn loss?
Yeah. Okay, here it is. They give up 55 points to Samford, 34 points to Western Carolina, 31 points to Eastern Tennessee in 3 straight weeks. Come on now.
And what was the ranking of the top offense they played against?
I don't have that. Alabama.
Alabama. Okay. That was the answer. Got it, guys. That's why they kept writing that up.
Yeah.
There.
All right. So we're getting some
Sure.
stuff about Abilene Christian here. Randall Youthy. All right. Abilene Christian put up 474 yards with the backup quarterback because the team is more than one or two players. I am really interested to see Abilene Christian up in Fargo.
Same.
I know nothing about Abilene Christian. So, Randall, let us know who to watch if you are an ACU supporter.
They're going to melt like a cheap birthday cake.
I know. Typically, this is kind of where someone gets sacrificed up in the Fargo Dome. So, unfortunately.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's kind of true. Like,
no, it's completely true. But not that the three of us would not love to see Abilene Christian go in there and just shock the world.
Yeah.
And quiet that awesome crowd and their Mountain West hopes and dreams.
Is anyone opposed to me just leaving up Happy Face Chad?
I love Happy Face Chad. Like, again, you are 3 for 3 on getting great frozen screen faces. Like, that's like a profile pic. You
leaving that there.
Stop smoking bunny fur.
Way to spell fur there, bud.
Yeah.
I love it.
Is that how Canadians spell it? I don't know.
Probably that, or he's typing on a keyboard like I do. So
yeah, right. Oh, now he fixes it.
Yeah, I want to talk.
All right. So I don't know. We can go through the next, right? So North Dakota State, Abilene Christian. Are we all thinking NDSU is going to win in that one?
Not just thinking.
I don't know anything about Abilene Christian, like we said, but that's. I cannot.
What do we think the line's going to be on this? Probably 21 plus.
I was going to go 20, something close to 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'd say 24. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, better than penguin fur. Good callback, Dan. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. It's called feathers, funny. I think.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Sorry for anyone new watching this on FCS Fans Nation. That's a callback to a different show that we do on Jack Garbett Illustrated. So, all right, Mercer versus Rhode Island. I'm still picking the Mercer Bears, but I could see if we don't know much about them in all honesty either. So we saw them last year in Brookings, and they lost a lot of those players. Restocked the cupboard with a bunch of transfer guys, and Kevin explained that last week to us. So,
yeah, I'm going chalk, I think, but this is one of 2 or 3 that I think there's a chance of an upset.
Sure. Okay.
I think you look at the score result of who they played the previous game, and Mercer should walk away with a win here. I don't know, like, by how many points, but I think they get the W.
Sure. Look at this, man. Look at this. Jeez. Thank you, Cody. 24.5 is what Reddit has for the NDSU line. Perfect. All right. Next up, we have Incarnate Word hosting.
There's no thumbs up, Seth. Otherwise, it'd be perfect.
That is good. All right. For those of you that are listening on the podcast at a later time, Chad's face has frozen. His screen has frozen, and he just looks like the happiest dang guy ever that, got the freshest cheese curds at the fair. So, all right. So Incarnate Word hosts Villanova. I didn't think Villanova was going to be in this game. They shouldn't be in this game. Incarnate Word should take care of business in this one because Villanova just doesn't look that good.
Yeah, I don't feel like this will be particularly close. Villanova didn't look that great against Eastern Kentucky, who by all rights they didn't beat, and UIW, has an excellent quarterback. What did I do wrong? No.
We both had the same look on our face. Took a minute to process there. Sorry, keep going, Chad.
What? Because I accidentally said D instead of W? I mean, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
We're good.
D for done. All right. Let's see. There's a big D on the screen. Yeah. So I think the offense the offensive firepower that UIW has will just simply overtake Villanova in this one.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Next up, us. Well, we'll skip over us again. We'll preview that later. USD hosting Tarleton.
How many TVs do they have down at Cubbies again?
Brendan said 50 bajillion, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's plus or minus 10. I think that USD is just going to destroy Tarleton.
Sure. All right. We'll see. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a little closer than that, but USD still wins. UC Davis hosting Illinois State.
I mean, part of me would like to see Illinois State do well here and gain some cred for the Valley, but I don't think this is a particularly good Illinois State team, even by their standards historically. I think UC Davis wins this one and probably by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, here's my like sticking point with Illinois State, and this is a me thing. I just need to get over it. Like, we saw Tommy Rittenhouse 2 years ago in Brookings, and he was awful. Yeah. Right? It was awful.
It was bad.
and I just can't imagine him being a starting quarterback now on a Final 8 team. Like, I know players change, they grow, they become better and stuff, but he was so bad that day that that's seared into my memory. Like, there's no way a team quarterbacked by Tommy Rittenhouse can make it any further in the playoffs. So UC Davis for me. Lan Larson, let's go.
Lan Larson's a stud. That's true.
I mean, UC Davis played Montana State to a hell of a game this year. I mean, they're a solid potential contender. I actually considered, when you look at odds for winning the Natty, there's just this monster drop off between the top 4 and then 5, which is Davis. And I considered putting a couple bucks on Davis winning. I don't think that they're going to, but for the amount of drop off, I forget. I mean, it's like plus 200, plus 250, plus 300, plus 400, plus 5,000. Like, it's just enormous where that line falls off between University of South Dakota and UC Davis. And I mean, I think they're good. They could definitely surprise some people.
Yep. Oh man, I'm getting some hate for that. Oh, that's all right. All right. Idaho versus Lehigh, the Fighting X.
It's going to be an heck of a game. What?
I think you guys said the exact same thing.
Super random matchup.
Yeah,
it is a random matchup. Kind of like last year when they lost that game that they shouldn't have to UAlbany.
Mm-hmm.
Might be another one that they could, but I'm not going to bet against Idaho. They're coming together as a complete team again, kind of like what they were at the beginning of the season. And at the beginning of the season, they looked pretty salty against a team that looks a little better than the FBS team that we played. So I think Idaho wins this running away. It's in the Kibbe Dome. Give me the Vandals. We'll go V's up, bunny ears, whatever you want to call it.
There we go. I'm taking Idaho as well.
Yeah, V's up. That's got to be a 17-point game probably. I think they were pretty handily.
Yeah. All right, Montana State hosts UT Martin. I'm taking Montana State, and I'm taking it kind of the same spread as the NDSU one, possibly more. 30 points potentially in this one. So
the Fighting Ryan Leafs are going to absolutely demolish UT Martin.
I offered him to be on our podcast.
I reached out to Ryan Leaf last year before the Natty because I think he was on the radio call because he works for Westwood One. I think he actually did a radio call of the game. And I tried to get him on, and I reached out to like a manager and something else and didn't get anything back. So I'll try again this year if we play him.
I think Ryan Leaf is just, indicative of how all Montana State fans must be, other than perhaps Parlay, because he's kind of the Ron of football players. I mean, he just kept calling out the Grizz all week, like, oh, nobody's going to be at your stadium. He just fit that mold of Ron, right? That's what I'm saying. He's kind of Ron-esque.
I enjoy Ryan Leaf's persona online right now. He's a recovery, rebound story, and I don't know, just trying to do his best. Really enjoys.
Matt
He's obviously got like notifications set for any time mentions his word and the word bust together because he'll retweet and just go off every time. So like that's how he gets a lot of his traction. But no, apparently a big Bobcat guy though.
Okay. UT Martin. Kevin says no. UT Martin will keep it closer than that. Run defense is stout. We'll see. All right.
We're aware that he went to Washington State. We're just not aware of what the tie is to.
Is he from Montana? Is that it?
Yeah, he's from Montana.
He's a big Montana State guy.
I think he's just a fan, right? Like that's because we know he went to Washington State.
You go on his Twitter. It's all Bobcats all the time right now.
Interesting. Huh.
Maybe he's just a bandwagon quarterback.
Okay. Leaf is from Great Falls, Montana. Everyone's letting us know. Brian, Patrick. Thanks. Hey, Patrick. Welcome back. Where you been, Patrick? Man.
He's been busy doing the podcast, the Eagles Power Hour.
Oh, that's true. Yep. All right. So, what's next? Oh, we got to talk about Cubbies quick. If you missed the announcement on the B team, Cubbies Sports Bar and Grill is bringing back the J.I. Italian nachos for the month of December. So, Ben and Brendan's reaction to that was better than anything I could have hoped for.
I'm giving you a reaction too.
Yeah, Chad looks super happy about it. So anyways, I did not tell the team that we were having that announcement was going to be made last week, and so getting the reaction live was priceless. Thank you, Cubbies, for doing that, for bringing back the nachos. And I'm guessing, I wasn't there, but I'm guessing Cubbies was pretty fun to be at on Saturday. All the TVs to watch all of these games at the same time. One of the best sports bars around, and the best in Brookings. So stop in, get the drink that you need to drink, and get the food that you need to eat, whether it's before or after the game. It's going to be great. But make sure you leave during the game to come watch it in the stadium. So that's my plug there to get your tickets and get to the game.
It is one no-brainer about Cubbies is getting there on what day are what day's the volleyball team playing? Is it Thursday?
Yeah.
Getting the at-large bid?
Is that when the coaches show is
that's
too?
Friday.
Because that's what happened last week.
Yeah, no, that was entertaining. Listen to that. No, they play
Jim
Friday at 4:30 p.m. The women play Miami, but not Miami because Miami of Ohio on Friday. So, I mean, that sounds like a hell of a time to get the Cubbies to me.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Yep. Cool. With that, mentioning the B team, my appearance last week, Chad had family stuff going on, so I stepped in to help produce it.
Yes, thank you for that.
And Chad, this is my Chad appreciation moment.
We don't need to do that.
No, we need to do this. Chad, you work so hard at this, my man. And it is hard being the person to manage all the comments, to try to participate in the conversation, to have your own original thoughts, and to, again, monitor the comments of jokers like Dimez and Ron and Rev in the comment section trying to trip you up. So Chad, shout out to you, man, for doing such a good job on all the shows for us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks. I try.
All right. And who else we need to talk about? We need to talk about JFPA. So JFPA, again, great organization. Jackrabbit Former Players Association. If you are a former player like our friend Dallas here, and some of you in the comments, make sure you get your membership completed for this year so that the Former Players Association can continue to support the football program. All the donations go back to the program. And it's, the best shirts, the best camps for your kids, the golf tournament, whatever it is. So and the tailgate was hopping this year a couple times that I was back in the backyard. So good job, JFPA. All right. Now, Montana versus Tennessee State. What did we think, guys? Talk about it what we saw last night.
They had a really big off defensive lineman that couldn't get out of his own way. He looked slower than me out there on the field.
Who are you talking about? Tennessee State?
Tennessee State. Sorry, Tennessee State. Yeah, my bad. I thought it was obvious who I was talking to based by my comment.
Yeah. It was.
I mean, he was like the nose tackle. He was kind of the same size as he actually was less fit, but He was big like the nose tackle Montana had last year. What's his name? That
Governor.
I can't think of.
Governor.
Yeah, Governor was a big dude, but he could move well.
This
guy couldn't get out of his own way. That one run back, he could have stopped Junior Bergen on that punt, but I don't know why they had him on punt coverage. Like, what are we doing? Did we run out of guys? Like,
I mean, to me, looking at Tennessee State was outclassed. It's really stereotypical at this point of kind of second to 2.5 tier FCS teams where the lines just can't keep up. Yeah. And to me, it was pretty clear that's where Tennessee State is at, where they've got athletes, they don't have the line, they don't necessarily have the depth. And then, to be honest with you, I don't think Montana probably has the line this year to hold up for 4 quarters either. Could be wrong. We'll see. I mean, they're a very talented team, so I don't even need to try to give them bulletin board material. But that was how that looked to me. Oh, by the way, really wanted to call out, somebody might have mentioned it, but Tennessee State's helmets were phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love those unis. God, those are cool unis.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mentioned it in our text thread.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
yep. And
yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So the way Tennessee State, Montana's first couple possessions, how they just stifled the run game, I was like, geez, like Montana might be in for a long day here if they can't run the ball. Because those big boys were quick right away when they were fresh. Man, by the second quarter when Montana was putting some drives together, they sure melted out there. And it really started when Montana put in that backup running back, that Fenoti, whatever his name is. I'm going to mispronounce that. Freshman, I believe, Male Fenoti.
Yep.
And he was a hard runner. Holy smokes, Kirby Voorhees-esque. And that, for whatever reason, that changed the complexion of the game a little bit. Eli Gilman got back out there and just started gashing them. So I don't know. That was definitely an interesting way how that played out, because man alive, right away, that big boy for Tennessee State was just blowing up everything, and Montana's guards looked lost against him. So I don't know. Weird game, in my opinion. Gilman's run in the fourth quarter, whenever that was, that big long touchdown run that he had where he stiff-armed a couple guys, zigzagged across the field. That was a thing of beauty. That was Isaiah Davis-esque. So,
hold on. We got to call out Zay getting his first touchdown.
Yeah, thanks.
How cool was that?
That was awesome.
And
it was a touchdown catch.
Yeah, and a touchdown catch from a quarterback that we shall not name. But, I mean, yeah, very cool. Congratulations. And then how genuinely excited the entire Jets team seemed to be for Zay getting his first touchdown. Like, everyone was just happy.
There was a wide receiver standing next to him, just jumping up and down.
Yeah,
that was great. Or maybe it was a tight end. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, derailed the conversation there, but
no, you're all good. I'm just looking at some of the comments.
Garrett Meyer has a good one.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean, obviously Junior Bergen, right? That's kind of, I think, where we have to start. Let's start with our conversation on Montana, talking about Junior Bergen, because that was crazy, right? He's tied now for the all-time lead in FCS punt return touchdowns. He had 2 in the game. What are we doing, Tennessee State? You have an awful special teams to begin with. Why are we kicking him the ball at all? If you're Tennessee State, what are you doing? Why?
We're going to go back to my declaration from last year. If we kick to him, someone needs to be either cut or fired from the sideline during the game.
Yeah.
We did kick to him last year.
Again, not that I clearly doubt any of our guys or planning our scheme, blah, 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 but just there's no reason to. He's that good. It's the same. He's the same level of. I said the same about Christian Watson. Seeing him live and the way he can move. That just sometimes there's just no reason to risk it. So don't risk it.
Yeah, fair enough. God, what else? Go ahead.
So, one thing that I did want to call out in this matchup specifically, really felt Montana in that 3-4. They really like to send both, at least in that game, and I haven't watched a bunch of others, but they sent both their Mike backers on like 3rd and 8-ish so much.
Yep.
That I
Sounds
wonder. I got to go back this week and see if that kind of held. Maybe that's something they just saw and they knew that was they had an opportunity there against a little bit weaker Tennessee State line, but that was very clear. They just telegraphed that, didn't care, and it worked. I mean, they got a lot of pressure on that quarterback.
Yep.
That'd be a nice little slant over the middle to your tight end right there, though.
Wide open.
Think,
there was
right?
nobody for 20 yards in the middle of the field.
But they played that goofy 3-3-5 too.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Just man, you just don't see it that much at this college level, and how they play it is so attacking. How they kind of hang one of those safeties down. I don't know. It's just an interesting design defense, in my opinion. I don't know. We just don't see it. So I'm sure that's part of what makes it complicated. But they blitz a lot, like Patrick says. But they had only 22 sacks going into the game last night.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
lot,
interesting
no.
when they threw that up. It's like, okay.
And we've kept Mark pretty clean all year, knock on wood. So.
Exceedingly clean. What?
Especially
4 sacks this year, something like that.
I think 6 total.
We had 2 against Missouri State. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who else? Offensive line. A lot of the familiar faces from last year. Decent size. They're. How can I say this without being disparaging? Right? They're not Missouri Valley sized offensive line. They're big, but not quite as big as Missouri Valley. So that's interesting. Their right tackle, Brandon Casey, 66. First team, Big Sky selection, 6'5", 309. Moves really well. He's a fun player to watch. If you like offensive line game, he's one player that always catches my eye when I watch Montana games. Like him. The Sawyer Racinelli, the transfer, 6'3", 208. He just adds a size dimension that maybe we haven't seen in Montana's receiving core. Someone that definitely caught my eye last night. Only had a couple of receptions, but he was good. Sorry, Dallas.
Oh, no, I was going to mention, you mentioned the right tackle, and I didn't catch the number. The right guard is actually who jumped off of film or off of the broadcast last night when I was watching. Really, really good at getting to the second level and stalking linebackers. And that's where some of that, they may not be Missouri Valley size, but that also might mean that they're a little bit quicker than some of the offensive linemen we typically see. And he was really, really solid at shadowing and stalking guys at the second and third level. So again, he was the right guard. Did not write down the number though.
Yeah, 76. Journey Grimsrud.
Okay.
So
good name.
Yeah, right. Journey Grimsrud.
I mean, we had a Grimsrud that played basketball for the women's basketball. Courtney Grimsrud. Sorry, that's a really old flashback.
That's a good callback. Yeah, Casey. That was
there.
Yeah, Casey Grimsrud, her brother. He was a good basketball player, good football player too. But I believe he played at Northern. So, all right, defensively, that Riley Wilson, the Hawaii transfer, number 42, fun player. How do you go from Hawaii to Montana? By the way, can someone explain that to me? That's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. We get guys from Alaska. That's kind of strange too.
That's true. But, all right.
Sorry to take a dump all over your point there, Matt.
Yeah, we have guys from Florida and South Dakota. So yeah, right. What about their kicker, Ty Morrison? He nailed that big, what was that, 50 some yarder yesterday? Am I remembering that right? An airplane. Thanks, Brian. Yeah. Okay. Patrick, thank you. Riley Wilson is one of the best players in the Big Sky Conference. Outside linebacker, more of a pass rusher / D line than he is an actual linebacker. Perfect. Yeah. Second team, all Big Sky at linebacker. So
it's warmer, Jim.
Yeah. The big thing is in their defense this year, in my opinion, is they don't have Alex Gubner, right?
Yeah, right.
Like he was such a stud, like a Caleb Sanders-esque type of defensive lineman that could just disrupt everything and move so damn well. Didn't
they graduate a high quality linebacker too?
Yeah, they lost a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's kind of what we know about them, or what I know. Dallas, Chad, what other thoughts you got on?
Nothing additional. I'm just really excited to get them to Brookings. It's been quite a while, and I don't know. I got to imagine. Well, I mean, we beat him in the Natty last year, but getting him in the playoffs earlier on, I still think there's got to be a piece of Jimmy that's got to remember back to his, some of those early playoff games and going out there. And I don't know. I hope we can return the favor and send him home with some bad feelings here. Another point I wanted to bring out was I actually felt better seeing that their attendance was a bit low. Now it's a holiday weekend, so you can't really blame.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should freak out about it. I mean, they still had 12,000 people at an FCS playoff game on Thanksgiving weekend. So I don't think that's bad, but it still felt like as we're kind of comparing ourselves at South Dakota State to teams that have had more established attendance and fan bases maybe in the past, like looking at that going, okay, like they did not sell that out. They didn't have 25,000 people there. That's probably about what maybe we'll expect this. Well, we should expect more than that this weekend, depending on the weather. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Yep. Patrick's comment, they graduated like 6 guys on defense, I believe, filled almost all those holes with transfers. I did notice that on the broadcast last night. It felt like in the first half, every player they mentioned was like a transfer from Fresno State, a transfer from Hawaii. Like that was just like, dang, how many transfers they got?
Washington, I think.
Yeah. Or if it was just the players that were making plays that were getting called out, right? It just felt goofy that every guy they mentioned was a transfer of some sort. All right. We can do predictions. One of my kids stole my notebook, Chad. So the sponsorship money that you're getting, I may need to get some of that back.
Are you mailing me a notebook for Christmas?
Yeah, notebook for Christmas. So my notebook's gone.
They did stuff a lot in that envelope.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you that story off air, Dallas. That's funny. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do some picks. Who's gonna be our guest picker for Jake? Dan Furman. Perfect. I just saw your score. So if you're still here, Dan, let us know your offense and defensive player of the week. Salaries of the gym. Whatever, Jim. All right. So Dan Furman. Perfect. Okay, Dallas, who are you taking for your offensive player?
Offensive player of the game. So they are giving up. You caught me in the middle of looking through some of their season.
Oh, Dallas, that's just fine. While you're doing this, Dallas is looking, we got to thank Northwestern Mutual for everything that they have done this year for sponsoring us and for everything they did for the Alex's Lemonade Stand, the Selection Sunday push. I don't know if you saw that total, but I believe it's over $50,000 raised now, right, Chad?
52,876.
That's awesome.
Which 25,422 is from Mr. Mark Gronowski.
Yep. Awesome. So, if you're making financial decisions for your life, whether it's life insurance or investing, saving for retirement, saving for kids' college, whatever it is, get a hold of Northwestern Mutual. They're a great partner for us, great partner for myself, great partner with Alex's Lemonade Stand and FCS Nation Radio. So get a hold of those folks down in Sioux Falls, Chris Schenkel and his team, and they'll get you hooked up with what you need. So thank you, Northwestern Mutual. All right, Dallas, did you find what you needed to find?
I did. Thank you for buying me that time. So they are giving up on average this year 215 yards a game in the air versus 140 on the ground. While the rush game is obviously strength of the Jackrabbits. I think we talked about that blitzing that they do, and I think our quick passing game is going to be in full effect. Over the middle, give me GFW Griffin Wilde, offensive player of the game.
All right, Griffin Wilde. Okay, Chad, who you got?
I think we run all over this defense. That's what I think, and so therefore I'm going to go with Amar and honorable mention to Angel.
All right. To me, this feels like an Angel game. So I'm going with Angel. So Angel or Amar. Love it. All right. Dan. Did I see Dan? Dan said Durantula on defense.
Yeah, no, he had it up here. I'll get it up there.
Okay.
Angel.
Thanks, Chad. And I'm going to need a score again, too. We've had so many comments. Thanks, everyone, for all the comments.
38-13 Jacks.
Okay. Come on, Matt. Say.
Matt, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Oh. All right.
Oh, I get it. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Defensively in this one, my favorite play of the national championship last year was Adam Bach stonewalling Eli Gilman at the goal line. So I am going with Adam Bach for defensive player in this one. Chad, who you got?
Man, I wanna think that our defensive line gets home. Give me Mr. Kobe. Claiborne.
Kobe. All right. Good. Dallas.
That was a good choice. I think that it's going to be chilly. I think Montana runs for a couple 100 yards a game. They think they're going to come in and run the ball against this defense, which they are not. Correct. Give me Caleb Frenzel.
Love it. All right.
10 plus tackles.
10 foot. Love it. Good. Wow. That's a lot for our defense.
It is because teams don't run that many plays.
Yeah.
Good big game coming.
Okay. That's a good point. Teams don't run many plays. All right. I can't scroll up any higher. Why can't I scroll up? All right.
You looking for comments? I got it.
Yeah, I'm looking for Dan's offensive player. Who do you have?
I said Angel.
Angel. Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Right there.
Okay. Chad, score prediction.
I think we more than double them, 42-14.
42-14. Okay. Dallas?
You didn't catch my joke. Never mind.
36-9.
All right. 36-9. All right. Dallas is not testing the theory that our defense is going to allow more than 10 points again. All right. He's wising up.
I'm betting against them. They need some kind of motivation.
Yeah, right.
I'm just picking numbers divisible by 3.
All right. I'm going to go with, that's a good strategy, actually, Dallas. All right.
Patrick.
Man, I like that score, Dallas. 36-9. All right. I'm going to go 38-9. 38-9.
Ooh, you and the Taco King. Almost identical.
Jeez, Brian. There we go. Awesome. All right. What else we got, guys?
Oh, I was going to show my tailgate find.
Yeah.
I had it all set. Oh no, and then my phone reset.
You had a video. Do you have a still picture too?
On Wednesday, guys, Wednesday is signing day, which is interesting because the and national letters of intent are no longer binding. So that's interesting to me.
Oh, sorry, Dallas. That was my bad. I got a little. Jamal here says 45-0. We're going to skunk them, he thinks. Offense, Amar, always his guy. He's 100% Amar all the time. Can't blame him for that. That's a great pick. And he's going with T-Large, the Truckinator. Gonna do what he does. Man, he was so good down at Missouri State. It's just
Missouri State. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking back to how good Tucker was in that game.
Yeah. Jordan Dallas, how we doing, man?
Jordan Thull has a question for you here. Or Tull. Sorry.
Have we had any more jump in the portal? Not that I'm aware. I have not been on Twitter a ton this weekend, though. It's still the 5 that I mentioned on the B Team show. So it's 4 of them were known. They've announced it on Twitter. And then Miles Taylor is not on the roster anymore, but hasn't publicly announced that he's going anywhere. So I don't know, Brian. Isn't it bizarre? Like, why have it? It's more ceremonial than anything at this point. But
with the coaches being able to move and stuff, or like if a coach moves on, the kids can move on right away. And I don't know. It's just so different than it was 4 years ago. Huh?
It's wild. So we'll see what happens. I didn't know that until this week, this last week, that PJ Fleck mentioned it on his show. I was listening to it here in Minnesota, and And then so I went and read about it. I'm
Lose a
like, what
bet?
the hell? Like, what's the point? Why have him? Exactly, Brian. That was my thought too. So just because they commit to us now doesn't mean they're going to necessarily be committed to us in February. So we'll see.
Do we want to talk at all about the Bubba situation?
Oh yeah, can talk Bubba. We talked about Skeletor. So yeah, it's odd, isn't it? What do you think,
It's
Chad?
weird. It's weird how it went down. I guess not surprising after the way they closed out their season. Ray Gronowski says he never heard that before on the National Letters of Intent, I think is what he's talking about. Yeah. And then he had basically said he was staying on the rest of the year. And, Alex pointed this out in our group chat, but then today UND comes out and announced an interim head coach, but Bubba's still going to be around for questions. It's kind of strange. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, just the little bit that I've read since Alex brought that up is, yeah, it's definitely odd that Bubba said he was sticking around until the next head coach, and then UND comes out the next day and says, hold on a second, Isaac Frichty's our interim head coach until the successor can be named. So definitely odd. I don't know how I would feel about, committing on Wednesday if I was a USD or a UND commit, even though they're not binding apparently anymore. I don't know. Definitely weird. So, yeah. And
hey, Bradley Kinning. Hey, dude, good quality win for your program this week. Congrats. The hometown heroes there for where Dallas is at. Mankato State got a W in the D2 playoffs against the number 1 ranked team, which was Grand Valley State, was it? Is that right?
No, they didn't have Grand Valley. They had Colorado.
Colorado, that's what it was. It was a red team. I can't remember the team name.
Pueblo?
Yeah.
Pueblo. There you go. They were the number 1 ranked, from what I understand. So,
yeah. So
I wasted your time on getting this figured out because I couldn't. My phone wasn't cooperating, and now I'm trying to upload it to Google Drive. So I will have to show what I was. What's that?
This is like Stig looking for a charger, Dallas.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Well, then, so my phone won't allow me to have StreamYard open and have the volume all the way down. It kept clicking it back up by one little tiny amount, which is where the echo came from. I don't know. So anyway.
So, do you guys realize the only one of us 3 that's not experiencing internet issues is me, the one that lives out in the sticks?
That's true.
Not YouTube.
Well, mine's not internet issues. Mine's I apparently forgot how to use my phone.
Mine is definitely a 13-plus-year-old computer issue, not just internet. The internet's not the problem. It is because I don't have 5G Wi-Fi.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys?
I don't think so. It'll be fun to talk a little bit more about the coaching stuff here as this develops, because we got the 2 regional teams looking for head coaches off of long-term, successful, programs or guys leading those programs. So it'll be fun to talk about.
Right. Chad, next year we'll get you a computer bought. We'll buy you a computer next year.
No, that's not necessary. Anyway. So,
yeah, it's just you get a computer, you have to commit to 5 more years. So
I'll be over 50, man.
Perfect.
No, all right. I want to see my old ass then.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you guys on Saturday. With that, go big, go blue,
go Jacks.